know, man.
Is it 14 or I think it's 14. Please, Lord, let it be 14.
It looks 14 to me.
Yes. Let me triple check.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord. This damn lake.
I don't know that I've ever been happier to weigh in 9 pounds of fish in my life. 4 fish for 9 pounds, 1 ounce is what I weighed in on Smith Mountain Lake this past weekend. And I gotta tell you, I'm very happy with that. Now, would I have been happier if I'd have weighed in 22 pounds on the first day of this tournament? Of course, who wouldn't have been? But this place has been my nemesis over the last 2 years, and I've struggled here, not knowing how to fish it, not knowing where to fish it, not knowing what to fish it with. I mean, just everything, every which way. I mean, it's just been a real struggle, this lake. And I'm satisfied because I was able to come to this place and do what I needed to do to keep my season going, which was, again, weigh in fish, get those points, and let's go to the Potomac River. So more so, this video is going to be more so about what we've done this year and where we're going, what the future holds, more so than what happened on Smith Mountain Lake. Smith Mountain Lake, it was a tough week out there, really, for me. It really, really was. And I think you can look at the weights out at this event and you can see for yourself that, hey, it was a tough bite. So for me to catch 4 fish, finish in 24th place, dude, I'm super happy with that. I really, really am. And so let's dive into it. Let's tell you what happened and what's coming up here in the next month or so. So I actually could not get bit tournament day. I could not get bit. In fact, at 11:30, I hadn't even had a bite yet, which was very, very concerning for me because I felt like I was about to miss out on my opportunity to go to the regional championship on the Potomac. I felt like I was going to zero and there was nothing I can do about it. But I got to give credit where credit is due. At about 11 o'clock, my co-angler caught a fish. He caught a spinnerbait fish. And he caught him in 1 foot of water. And that just triggered everything in me to say, okay, these fish are super shallow. Let's get shallow with them. And I did. And it just, as soon as I did, I started getting bit.
Got him?
I think that's 14.
I think so.
That was 13.
He looks 14. You don't think so? I don't know, man.
Is it 14 or I think it's 14. Please, Lord, let it be 14.
It looks 14 to me.
Yes. Let me triple check.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord. This damn lake.
So I went into the tournament thinking I'm going to have to fish deep. You know, I caught some fish deep in practice, and I mean like deep, 18 foot of water on a Carolina rig. You know, I was fishing points and that kind of thing, and that was my thing. That's what I wanted to do. Was early in the morning, I wanted to go fish super shallow as you can get, and then about 9-10 o'clock, go back out deep and start fishing deep water and start looking for, you know, those big fish hanging off main lake points and stuff. It just did not work that way. Those fish were shallow for me. Now, I'm sure that there's other guys that caught them different ways, you know, a multitude of different ways. But for me, once my co-angler got bit, super shallow, I mean shallow, I'm talking probably less than a foot of water, that just kind of triggered everything for me. And and then once I caught my one keeper, that first fish you just saw, it just triggered something in me. It really, really did. And then after that first fish, at 11:30, I'm feeling better. Okay, I got some points here, and you know, let's just see how this plays out. And so I kept fishing, and about 30 minutes later, I picked off another one. And this fish was quite a bit better, actually. It's closer to, you know, it's closer to 3 pounds.
Fish. I didn't know you had him on.
Thank you, Lord.
You know you're having a tough time whenever you start thanking the Lord and saying your prayers and all that kind of thing after you catch one. But for me, it was just so alleviating to apparently find this pattern. These fish were super shallow, and as you can look at the clouds here, you can see it's cloudy. There is some wind. There's also a lot of boat wakes from all the traffic on the water. It was honestly pretty good conditions for a spinnerbait. I never have done anything on a spinnerbait before on Smith Mountain, but apparently they will eat it. So I'm glad I found this. But you know, I found this pattern, and then you know, I felt really good about finally, you know, catching some fish here, and it kind of gave me some confidence. It really did, because I was like, at this point in time, I've got 2 fish. I've caught 2 fish really quickly. What's to say I can't go ahead and fill this limit out? And so confidence is good. Confidence is everything in bass fishing, and I got a lot of confidence off of these 2 fish. And so I went on. I probably honestly fished for another hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours without getting another bite shallow. I still felt like they were shallow. I was able to catch a couple of small fish really shallow that wouldn't measure. So I stayed shallow, honestly, the rest of the day. I might have dipped back out deep one time off a point just to see if I can catch one Carolina rigging, but I couldn't. One thing I did notice about this event was when I got here Wednesday, water temperature was 85 degrees. It was 80 degrees on Saturday. So putting all these things together, water temperature had dropped 5 degrees. The wind was blowing. It was cloudy. Conditions were right for these fish to be shallow. They do move shallow in the early fall when the water temperature starts dropping again. They'll move back shallow, and that's kind of what had happened, and that's the pattern that I had found. But not getting a bite here for a couple of hours, you know, it worried me a little bit. But I stayed true to my game plan, and I was able to actually to pick off 2 more. And my third fish here was actually another really good, solid fish. So I'm gonna let you see the clip, and then I'm gonna walk you through it and let you, you know, walk you through it through my mind as it played out.
Yep. Oh, shit. Don't stab her, don't stab her. Okay. And I'm clear. Thank you so much. You got it, man.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Nice one. Nice one. Don't step back.
So I gotta tell you, I'm not a finesse guy, and you see what I'm doing here. I got a spinning rod in my hand, and I'm throwing an 8-pound test. Actually, I'm throwing like a 15-pound braid on an 8-pound leader fluorocarbon, and I guess that's just what it took to get bit this afternoon. I'm still fishing shallow. Actually, there's a piece of wood. If you look on the left side of your screen, you can barely see it under the water there. But I flip over there, and it doesn't take long at all for me to actually get bit. So it just confirms that, hey, these fish are still shallow. I get bit, set the hook, and then we're off to a pretty good fight here. This fish is going to be about 3¼ pounds. It's my biggest fish of the day, and I caught him on a shaky head, finesse fishing. And it was a good feeling, a really good feeling. My co-angler here is really good. He listened to me. I told him to move to the right side so I can, because that's the way the fish was going to take me. I wasn't at all going to force this fish at all. And if you saw in the clip there, the best sound in the world is the drag being pulled out on a spinning reel. That is an awesome sound, and that's kind of what was happening here. This by all means wasn't a giant, but it was big enough to really to put up a really good fight, and it was a fun fish to catch on this light line. But again, just showing this clip again really quick, throw it in there, and about 2 or 3 seconds later I felt a good pluck on that shaky head. And good fish. And again, I had a really good co-angler here. I've been blessed this year to have at least 2 really great co-anglers regarding netting fish, and so that was I've been blessed this year regarding co-anglers. But again, this fish just kind of gives me even more confidence. Now, this is my 3rd fish of the day. It's 2 o'clock right now. 2 o'clock, 3 fish in the boat. I probably have, 7 pounds or so in the live well. Nothing at all to brag about for a guy that has struggled tremendously on this Clearwater mountain lake. I'm feeling pretty good. In fact, I feel so good. I feel like I can finish my limit. There's nothing that says I can't finish my limit here. I'm definitely on this pattern here. These fish are shallow. I feel pretty good about having the ability to finish out my limit. And so I stay right here. I stay on this bank, and I don't move. I only have an hour left of the fish or so. Not even an hour probably. And I stay right here on this bank, and I keep going back and forth across it, and I finally pick off one more small keeper. And nothing amazing, but this fish is 2 pounds, about 15 inches long. And it just confirms, hey, this is the pattern for the day, man. You found it too late though. But I'm still happy with how it finished out. I'm happy with being able to catch 4 fish after struggling so hard up here. My 2 past events, not really being able to get bit at all. I'm very happy with the way things went down. And bass fishing is it takes time on the water to be able to figure these places out. I think I said in one of my prior Smith Mountain Lake videos, I said that how tough it was and how I just can't get bit. You can't get bit if you're not familiar with the body of water, if you're not familiar with how the patterns work. Like, I have found that every lake fish pattern differently. Sometimes it's wood, sometimes it's rock. Sometimes one week it's wood and the next week it's rock. Sometimes it's grass, sometimes it's lay down, sometimes it's brush piles. So you have to figure out how fish pattern on all these different lakes you go to. And once you figure out those patterns, it's pretty, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's a lot less difficult to find them. And I was able to, at least one day for about 4 hours here, figure them out. And I wish I'd have found this pattern earlier in the week, so I could have kind of fine-tuned it and weighed in a really good limit. But all these experiences that I had on Smith Mountain, this tournament will help me next year. It will help me tremendously next year. So that's Smith Mountain. We ended up in 24th place, 9 pounds, 1 ounce. We missed the cut by 1 fish. If I had weighed in a 5th fish, I would have made the cut. I would have been fishing day 2, and I feel like, knowing what I knew on Saturday, I could have done some damage. I could have moved up. I think I missed the cut by what was it? 1 pound and 13 ounces or something like that. Like, I barely missed the cut. And if I had weighed in a 5th fish, I would have made the cut. And man, that would have been so nice to fish on Sunday. Again, just knowing what I knew. But 24th place, I'm happy with that. I moved up in the point standings. I was sitting in 31st. I moved up to 24th in the point standings as well. And what this does more than anything, it secures my spot on the Potomac. This tournament was less about what's going on Smith Mountain Lake and more about what do we have to do to get to the Potomac. Because as you know, once you get to the Potomac, you're really, that's the championship. Okay. So Smith Mountain Lake was about getting to the Potomac. It was the last leg, the final stage. to get there. If I'd have zeroed in this tournament, I probably wouldn't have made it. But we made it. We had an okay day. And now we get to go to Smith Mountain Lake, fish for $20,000 in cash and a $50,000 bass boat. So we are where we want to be. We are doing exactly what we want to be doing. You know, looking back through this year, how'd we do? You know, you can go back to each and every single tournament and see how we've progressed throughout the year. You know, you can go all the way back to Carr Lake, where I zeroed twice last year and I actually weighed in a really good limit, 13 pounds, and finished in the top 25 on the first tournament of the year. Of course, then we went to Smith Mountain and we only weighed in one and struggled there. But then we went to High Rock and had a top 5 finish. We went to the James River and, you know, not a great day, of course, but we did what we had to do to keep the train rolling. And then finishing off the last tournament of the year for the Piedmont division here on Smith Mountain Lake. I think I can look back and see how I've grown as an angler this year, and I am exactly where I want to be, because next October we're going to the Potomac and we're fishing for a lot of money. We're fishing for a new boat. We're fishing for a big trophy, and we're fishing to have the opportunity to go fish in the BFL All-American, which for any weekend angler, for any FLW angler, being able to participate in the All-American tournament next year, it should be a dream of yours. To, you know, to be able to participate in an event such as that. It is in my opinion, it is the amateur bass anglers Super Bowl. That's what we all should be shooting for as an amateur angler. So that's where we are. I'm happy with where we are. I'm happy where this year has gone. It's been a successful year so far, in my opinion. Would I've liked to have done better in a couple of tournaments? Sure. Would I've liked to have won more money? Sure. But for me personally, growing as an angler and learning new skills and just developing as a tournament bass angler, you know, I think we've made great strides this year. And I'm happy that everyone has followed along with me. I get a lot of emails. I get people request, you know, trying to give me information, and a lot of times I listen to them. Sometimes I don't. But people try to reach out to me and help, you know. And but season 3, we're not done. We've got one more big tournament. Hopefully 2 more big tournaments. Hopefully we can make it to the All-American. How amazing would that be? If we could make it to the All-American next year. But we're planning now for the Potomac. We're looking at Navionics. We're looking at everything. We're researching as much as we can. We're moving towards, you know, everything else is put on hold for the next month and a half as I prepare for the Potomac. And again, I'm blessed to be there. I'm blessed to have the opportunity to fish in such an event. So that's Smith Mountain. That's what's happened so far this year in our regular season. And now it's time to go fish against the big boys. Some of the best anglers the best amateur anglers in the nation will be fishing on the Potomac for 3 days in October. And I'm honored to have the opportunity to compete against them. I appreciate everybody watching. I will keep you posted. We'll check back soon. Season 3 is still going strong. We're going to keep it going as long as we can. I'll see you soon.